Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you guys are doing good here tonight. We are streaming live on Facebook and on YouTube right now. I do have plans to be going back on X and doing our live streams there as well. And maybe Instagram. I don't know. They get a little too wild over there late at night. And I can't deal with the left. I mean, that's just not on my downtime. Hmm. I'm glad we got this streaming here. We are operating with a new camera and a couple different lights here. So I've been trying to tweak this and work with this for some time. And right up here, yeah, you see that imperfection right up there? Yep, right there, right there. So we're gonna be I gotta paint that up there or something. So I'm gonna work on that. But tonight's probably just gonna be a very short broadcast. I might be joined on here with Orlando Owens in a few minutes, but I wanted to let you guys know a couple different things. We got a lot of different guests lined up here coming up soon. As a matter of fact, this Monday night at 7 p.m., I believe it is Central Standard Time, I will be joined by the Milwaukee County Republican Party's chairman, Hilario De Leon. We're going to have a conversation about what's going on in Milwaukee County as it relates to our state convention coming up here in May, convention in August, and what they're doing to kind of get out the vote, make things happen, and just get things popping off. Because here we are knee deep into the 2024 election cycle, and I got to tell you, it is going to be lit. In with Orlando Owens this morning, and well, I tell you, we definitely got some reservations about things going on here to the extent that with all the violence and everything that happened in 2020, it's hard to think that that's not going to happen once again in 2024. So, I mean, we can hope that that doesn't happen, but we know better and we'll see what happens. Hope we're wrong. But we'll be talking with Laura DeLeon about that there. And then here, let me pull up my Google Calendar. I probably shouldn't be telling people what I'm putting my calendar on, but you know what? We all have a calendar, or at least we should have a calendar. Put your appointments, get your schedules in there, keep everything tight. We got a lot of different guests coming up. As a matter of fact, let's go into March here. March, such a wonderful month. March is spring coming, days get longer. Oh, and your boy has a birthday coming up. So, yeah, so okay. Hilaria De Leon is going to be on 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and that's going to be on March 4th. March 5th, we're going to have the normal show here, and we're going to be doing it live again, Facebook Live, YouTube, and we're also going to be doing it on X. So I will have that figured out by then. Wednesday night, March 6th, we're going to be interviewing U.S. senatorial candidate Stacey Klein. She's a Republican running in our primary. We have a bunch of people running in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate that's going to be challenging Tammy Baldwin, Stacey Klein, uh, Rajani, and please, Rajani, don't hit me. I can't pronounce your last name yet, but I will. We'll be talking with her as well. We're going to set something up. Kyle Corrigan, I'm going to be talking with him. I will be reaching out to the Eric Hovde camp. So it's going to be great conversations here. Again, primary is just a little over a month away, April 2nd. So we're going to be talking about that. Thursday night, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys are going to want to check in for this, especially for those of you guys in Milwaukee, the city of Milwaukee proper, and those of you guys outside, because you guys probably know this guy, Dr. David D. King. He's running for mayor. He was one of two people that made the runoff on the ballot there just a few weeks ago, I think a week or two. And it's going to be him going head to head with incumbent Chevy Chase. It's going to be a fascinating conversation. What makes that conversation with David King very interesting, especially with him and I, is that our conversations can last 30 minutes or 3 or 4 hours. Not sure what you're going to get there Thursday night, but you're definitely going to get some really interesting information and a great conversation right there. Then Friday night, well, I'm not going to be doing anything that night. I actually have March 8th. I actually got some tattoo work I need to be getting done here. For those of you guys that have seen the work already, I mean, right here. Let's see here. I got a delay on my own camera. Yeah, so I'm going to be, the arm itself is done. I just need to do the shoulder and the left pectoral muscle. So that's going to be, well, it'll be painful, but it's for a good purpose. It's good for a good purpose. So, um, let's see, what else do we have? Keep eyes open for April. Obviously, with the primary on the second, various Lincoln Day dinners going on. I will be putting out announcements of events that I'll be going to. I know on April 13th in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, we do have the 6th Congressional Caucus. For those of you guys here in central Wisconsin, you guys going to want to attend that, especially if you are county party members. Furthermore, um, I do have something else in the works that'll be coming up. I can't announce it just yet, but I was in a very great conversation with a gentleman last night, and it's a good opportunity, and I think you guys will enjoy that. So hopefully we'll get somebody to live stream that for us as well. And then let's see, man, so much going on. I am looking to get in contact with, I did actually, with the Republican Party of Wisconsin's chairman, Brian Shimmy. I will be having him on as a guest here relatively soon. He's very busy with everything going on. And one of the things that they're doing, and this is not a public secret, Rhonda McDaniels is going to be stepping down from the chairman of the RNC, the Republican National Committee. And they're going to be nominating somebody here, I think sometime next week. So that's going to be some big news. So I think all the state chairmen are going to be attending these events here over this next week. And we will be having a new chairman for the RNC. So we'll see how that goes. I want to give a shout out here real quick. And as you guys know, I tend to be very critical of Republicans, and I believe rightfully so. I am critical of Republicans, but not without cause. And I think it's very important to say that, because I'm a person who likes to call balls and strikes. So let's say you're following up on something. Well, I'm probably going to have to put you on blast. Now, of course, you don't have to listen to me. You don't have to take anything I have to say. You could literally tell me to go pound sand and that I'm full of it. Fair enough. But I do have the ear of a lot of folks. So, I mean, it does carry some weight. But I'm not going to just blast somebody because, well, I have a personal grudge or I have any particular issue. What's up, my love? Going to bed, Bubba? Yeah. I love you too, my love. Hey, warm breakfast and a phenomenal day tomorrow. You know what it is, right? Yeah. It is Friday. All right, baby, I love you. Saying good night to my boy. And oh, here's my other boy. What's up, buddy? This is our producer right down here. Camera can't get down to see him, but this is my Roddy here. What's up, Tortor? Oh, my sweet baby boy. He is a tank. But yeah, let me get back to where I was at here. So obviously, yeah, we got a lot of different events going on here. So look forward to all that. But I'm not critical of Republicans just for the sake of being critical. I'm not critical because of a personal beef or vendetta. As a matter of fact, I find a lot of these, pay attention, especially on Facebook and Instagram. There are personalities out there, some of which who I'm friends with personally, that have these internet beefs with people. A lot of this nonsense talking. I mean, here, this is what it reminds me of. I'm going to throw one name out there, and feel free to look it up, YouTube Shorts. It's really pathetic. A guy by the name of Benzino. Now, don't get me wrong. I've been a fan of hip hop all my life. I've never heard of this dude. But, oh my God, he's out there calling out Eminem and crying and making a fool of himself. And I mean, don't nobody know who he is. Or at least not in my circles. When I see these internet beefs going on back and forth with people, that's exactly what it reminds me of. It reminds me of Benzino. It reminds me of impetulant children on the schoolyard. It reminds me, and that's the best part, of a bunch of rappers that just sit there, talk trash about each other, make records, right? bashing each other. And then when one rapper stops, the other one dies. Case in point, Eminem, Ja Rule. Boy, they were going back and forth until Eminem said, I'm not doing this no more. And what happened to Ja Rule's career? Well, Eminem probably said it best. You know, he gains nothing from it. Yeah. That's how I see internet beefs. And I just think it's ridiculous that there are so many people. And I don't know if it's ego. I don't know if it's, you know, clout chasing. I don't personally know because, well, I don't get into that stuff with people. And the reason I don't have enough hours in a day to do what I got to do as it is right now. So I'm not going to be getting into that type of stuff, but we'll talk more about that as the weeks progress. But more shows are be coming out, more on the platforms that we're going to be doing. And without further ado, let's just introduce here Orlando Owens. What's going on, brother?
Hear me? Hold on.
Yeah,
Hear me now.
I hear
How are
you.
you?
I feel like this is a Verizon commercial. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? It was a
Well,
damn good commercial back in the day.
I did pretty good, but I will say I'm for a little bit of I think I'm for a little bit of correcting folk. I think there's nothing wrong with it. I think that some of us have been way too collegial and we rely on
Sure.
things to go too far. And
Hmm.
I think especially as conservatives, I think we need to stand more on our ground and stop always ceding and or I don't like to say this, but I'll just say it.
Yeah.
Shannon Sharp said something on Club Shay Shay because I'm not a fan of Shannon Sharp. He said his daddy told him, when people always say you need to be the bigger person, he said after a while you need to consider, maybe you need to move yourself because too many small people around you.
Hmm.
So hold on one second, man. I'm afraid but I got a call coming in, so
Yep.
I'll get back.
No, I feel that, but at the same point, I'm somebody, for the most part, if somebody's gonna be beefing like that, I just write them off. I mean, this is persona non grata, a person no consequence. Now, obviously, if something gets really out of hand, well, I get it to a certain point that you need to squash things, but, but I wonder if I have a delay. Let me take a look over here. Oh, what do we got going on? Oh, might be my computer. Anyway,
I can see you. You're not moving.
yeah, I feel like I'm froze. I froze up here.
Yeah. So what you want to do?
Oh, as long as you can still hear me, we're good.
Is this a new camera? Now I'm starting to see. I don't know if you back up the speed yet.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, yeah, I think
it's
that's
it's
right.
touch and go right now. I think I got too many windows open right now, so I'm gonna close some up here.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think you need to be a perpetual beef guy, but I think at a certain time you need to put some law to the land and say, hey, and and stop letting people just run you over, treat you any kind of way. Again, I'm not saying you continue with everybody, but I think it's time now that we do have to say stand your ground, be the bigger person. I'm cool with that, because it depends on what you want to say. But yeah,
Mhm.
some of this stuff has to be pushed back because the left and these so-called I'm a conservative. I lean to the right, and it's just too much. And we've taken the high road and turned the cheek far too often and say, wait a minute, you can't just do that. You're not going to bully anybody. You're not
Well,
going to go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying you're not going to bully anybody. You're not going to, make, accusatory statements and
Hmm.
half truths and think that's going to be able to ride. No, you just can't do that.
Well,
You should be able to think.
I think that when it comes to dealing with other conservatives, I would sooner just write them off as persona non grata,
I would definitely do that. I'm with you
a-
there.
as a person no consequence, because at the end of the day, and this is no reference to anyone in particular, but I've seen people, make response videos, this, that, and whatever, and it's like, well, that's great, but nobody's watching it. you're still watching me. So I don't, I don't really mess with that. Now, when it comes to the left, and this is why whenever I'm talking to a candidate or a legislator, anybody, I'm like, I just want you to be aware of the things that I have said in the past. Like, I don't want you to, you know, think that you're going to get tarnished by working with me or anything else like that, just simply because, I'll say whatever's on my mind. Now,
Sure.
obviously, in the course of that discussion, I'm not going to be out of pocket, no words or anything else like that. But when you're dealing with the left, oh no, I've been on a couple live streams of you recently with some folks over there on Instagram, and it's like I'm not all composed and everything else like this. I'm laying it in there just as heavy as they are.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay within reason, because I think we've taken the high roads too often, and
Hmm.
we people want someone who, I'm not saying the advocate perpetual, but look at what they do to Trump. Every week. I'm not saying Trump don't. You know, he gives it as good as he takes it sometimes. And
Yep.
so what I say is like, yeah, people are tired of individuals just thinking they can just say stuff and do stuff, and there's no consequence. Like, no, you'll get some pushback. You get some pushback, and that's what will happen.
Hmm. No doubt about that. Hey, I got a question. Did you see what happened? I guess there was a restaurant in Milwaukee. Eric Hovde was that, and after his attendance there, somebody fired a shot into the restaurant.
I heard about it. I wasn't. I heard it happened after the event was over, though, right?
Hmm. And I'm over here
Yeah,
like,
I
damn.
heard about it, so I didn't know that. Again, that goes to show some of the things that we're facing in some of these urban areas that have to be addressed. And these
Right.
things can't be addressed being, how do I say, millie mouth. You're gonna have to
Hmm.
talk about this thing, and you're gonna stand strong, and you're gonna get people to attack you. And I think it's time for us to push back and stand your ground and
Right.
get and have some backbone. We've given. I think part of the problem is we given the left so much. We ceded so much ground in the sake of keeping the peace. But this is what it gets you when you don't stand for anything, or you continue to say, well, I gotta say, well. But look what you did. Every time you say "well," the line get pushed further back in your camp. Well, you
Hmm.
see so much ground, the seating ground, without having another argument about your
Yeah.
position or debate about your position, and say, no, you're not going to talk to me this way. You're not going to do this to me, and your behavior won't be accepted. Your poor behavior won't be accepted. And I think we're at the stage now that we have to do that because it's
Well, I think that's kind of where you see some Republicans where they're just like, yeah, I stand for these values. I stand for this. I'm a fighter. And then all of a sudden they get into it with the left, and it's like, well, you know what? I see your point. You see my point. You see their point. Do you stand for something, or you just kind of go wherever the argument takes you? Because again, I always got to remember, I'm in my frame always. So in doing so, that's what shapes my worldview. And I think other people, that I associate with are also in that frame. That's a big mistake that most people make. And in that, I got to realize that there are people that just lack the courage of their own convictions, or may not be able to be smart enough to argue and stand in that position without fear of like not being liked, because I think traditionally a lot of Republicans try to play nice too much because they don't want the news to write a bad article about them. They want to be liked by everybody, and it's like, wait a minute, they're not going to like you no matter what you say. And so I think I think that's a problem, not just with Republicans, although I think you can name a bunch of them. But it's also a problem with influencers. It's also a problem with, the average person. And that's why I tell people, it's like, if you're going to do something, understand what you're advocating for, study up on it and decide which way you're going to go. Because this idea of kind of being on the fence, milk toast sitter, well, that's not really going to get you anywhere. Because at that particular point, you're going to be swayed by anybody. Unless that's your goal, I suppose. I mean, some people just don't care. Orlando just ducked out on us here. I think there is something to be said about what Orlando was saying, though. Their pushback needs to be there. Where did the man go? The stream is fine. We're running on point. We'll carry on with the conversation. Oh, there he is. I was going to say, we were carry on, but all right.
That 2-year-old. And wifey's gone.
Yeah, I was going to say, I hear him in the background over there.
Wifey gone, so now I got to keep an eye on him. But
yes,
so
yes, sir.
I think it's again. I think there's a balance, and I'm with you, brother Ed. I think having legit beef. I don't know. I think this. I'm at a stage now, especially at this phase. His TV too loud too.
It's all good.
I'm with the nominee of the Republican Party, and it looks like it's going to be Donald Trump. Anything other than that right now is just a distraction. It just is. Talking to these guys from the left, it always, or even guys who just. I had a live. I think you might have got on today with IG. Having individuals who are not part of the party trying to say what the party needs to do.
Okay, yeah.
Or you says you're not a good representative of the Republican Party.
Well, you got to remember, you're a dancing bear.
Oh yeah. I'm a sandbar.
I mean,
I'm a sandbar.
Yes.
Sellout. All these guys, but none of these guys are part of the official party. They don't, do anything really of substance, but have all the opinions in the world. Watch out for these individuals who got way more to say. But I think they say what they say in some vernacular, all hat. All hat.
What was?
Capping.
No,
that's because you cap.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was that you were saying about that earlier?
Capping. So I mean, again, individuals want to come to your state and say, "I know how to do this. I know how to do that," but in your own state, you're not doing nothing.
Well, and it's funny, the individuals that you were talking about, you're talking about some carpetbaggers.
I mean, yeah, the guy had
facts are facts.
He had plenty of stuff to talk about how he did this and did that. Getting still, your own record as far as running hadn't been as strong as, but has all the solutions. And that, to me, that's one of the first things. When you don't have buy-in from your ideas, that's something to tell you that people are not getting behind it, or you can't explain it well, or whatever the case may be. But it's just not buy-in, right? The things I've done has buy-in. The things I've done also, people have funded those efforts, right? And so I just look at the idea of it's hard, taking, I wouldn't say hard, but it's odd taking criticism from other so-called Black conservatives. What you could be doing better. I'm like, wait a minute. Especially when what you doing in your state? Is your state really recognizing what you're doing?
I think that's the phenomenon of the armchair quarterback, the Monday morning quarterback. He should have done this on the field. This quarterback should have done this. And it's like, your ass couldn't even run from one goalpost to another
without passing out.
What are you talking about? I mean, like you pass out, they do CPR, they would declare you dead for like 32 seconds and bring you back.
Yeah, it blows my mind. I mean, the audacity of individuals kind of blow my mind. But what I will say though, man, if we can shift a little bit, because that's going to be what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like I said,
talk
them up. It's like you said, they're you in the Joe Biden camp, in the liberal camp. So I know how to address you and really don't even focus my attention towards you. This idea of the independent vote. I think we need to, again, it is so hard. And you and I have had these discussions before, Ed. It is so hard to try to frame a campaign to independent voters. Their list of issues are way too long and they're way too unpredictable.
Yeah.
You're not going to appease them with your platform or what you're standing on because their main issue kind of rotates every day and it kind of follows the ebbs and flows of the day. And that's the case. You can't have a strategy that appeals to them. Your best bet, and not Mark Belling said this here in Wisconsin. Your best bet, man, is just to run your campaign and see how this breaks on election day. Most of those
Hmm.
individuals break toward the person who sounds like they got it together, like he's thought this
Yep.
thing through. Because you cannot really campaign towards it. Now, do they play a role? I think they play a role, but I also think there's untapped things. Ed, you talk. I'm gonna cut this TV down. It's too loud. But you talk.
Fair enough. It's funny because I thought I was a complicated person to try to win over because, well, for one, I'm more libertarian in a lot of social issues, but I'm very conservative on the economic issues, and the economy is my number one thing because I look at money as in terms of it is a weapon, it is a tool, and it is to be utilized properly. And if you do that, then you have the tools to get through life. And of course, when it comes to money, and I think this is very true, money in many ways is much like the internet. Money is not the root of evil. The internet is not evil. It exposes you. So if you have an individual who comes into a lot of money and they were a POS to begin with, well, guess what? Now they're a POS with money, which allows them to be a bigger POS. You take a decent person and you put them on the internet, well, they're not going to go out there, start fights or anything else like that. They're going to do whatever they're going to do and hop on off, you know? And I think there's a big deal of truth in that.
So, where are you platforming tonight at, man? You're
Tonight, I'm just doing Facebook and YouTube.
so you're
I didn't get a chance to link things up.
with
Busy night.
Instagram.
I'm going to do that
Okay.
eventually, but not tonight. Maybe Saturday. But one of the things that I'm trying to do right now, and I got my irons in so many different fires between working with this, getting the interviews, having these conversations, the home, keeping things tight on the home front,
Yep.
and I don't know if you're familiar with something called the Rippaverse. It's a comic book series that just was recently created, a couple years ago, and it was recently created, and it was to kind of just tell a story,
Okay.
to create culture. The gentleman's name escapes me at this time, but his goal is to supplant and replace Marvel and DC. Because if
Okay. That's a
you
big
take
that's
a
a
look
big
at Marvel and
that's a
DC,
big fight. Okay, go ahead.
they've gone completely woke.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Punisher.
I am.
Yeah, well, apparently he's renounced his Punisher, and it's just a whole woke mess over there. It's just terrible. But I'm trying to create something over here. I'm big into horror stories and stuff like that. So I'm looking to try to create some things here. And I'm going to be launching this very soon. I've been playing around with it for several months, but I've been really tweaking it, creating a whole new universe. It's going to be something. And this is one of those things, too. When we talk about what can we do as conservatives, Republicans, well, get out the vote.
Right.
Very important. Door knocking
Yep.
has its place. Having a Lincoln Day dinner or pints in politics, you need those. It builds camaraderie. But where is the creation of culture? Because Tom McDonald can't do it on his own. You know, uh, the Riververse can't do it on their own. There's got to be other conservative cultural endeavors. You look at
Okay.
the Daily Wire; they're making movies. Angel Studios making movies. You know, look what was that one? Sounds of Freedom. Look how much money that made, which is going to enable them to make more. You know, but where are our other recording artists? Where are our other, cultural creators? You know, I think conservatism needs to be. We need to step back and take a look at what it means to be conservative and what it means to influence culture, because we have such a poor grasp on that. We have allowed popular culture to be ran over by the left, which is why they destroyed institutions like Disney, Budweiser, and all the other nonsense that they have done over the years.
So you believe conservatives need to go into media and those platforms as well as doing movies, making shows.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely. Absolutely.
okay.
Music, art, literature, you know, uh, Dr. Jordan Peterson can't be the only person out there, espousing philosophies that are conservative. He doesn't really identify himself as such, but you know what? What he goes out there and tells you is like, you know what? You need to be a monster. The difference between, a monster who just goes out and does wreaks havoc and the one that controls himself. Well, that's the mantle of being a man.
So we need
Not saying you need to
schools.
go crazy. Not saying you need to go crazy like Andrew Tate. I mean, and I like Andrew Tate, don't get me wrong, but you know, go out there, take care of yourself. Don't show no shame in wearing the flag. You
Okay.
know, open carry, do your thing. There's a lot of things. Hell, there's some people that will refuse to wear certain articles of clothing because they're afraid of being canceled.
Well,
Find your hill to die on.
and I do believe that there's you and I talked about this the other day. I think we're at the start of something happening. I think
Hmm.
there's something happening. To your point, um, going into the movie industry, going into the entertainment industry, going to cell phones, and we have cell phone companies now who are patriotic cell phone companies.
Yeah, I
And
saw that.
I think we do need to start to look at how we can engage people and using some of the things that are right here in front of us that we can use
Hmm.
from movies, from culturally, even schools, more conservative institutions, more conservative learning apparatuses,
Yep.
and offer that as a counterpoint. Maybe not a counterpoint, but as a balance. But I think you're making some good sense, my friend.
Well, I think it's not even a counterpoint or a balance. It may just simply be a alternate economy, as it were. What there's an app out there that will talk that will literally put out their conservative leading organizations where you should shop. And I wish I'd done some more research on it tonight, but um, you know, do those type of things. You got PayPal, you got Venmo, you got all this other stuff, but then there's what is it? I think my goodness, his name has escaped me right now. I think Bongino is part of Dan Bongino, where it's another platform where you can transfer money.
Okay.
So, for something like that, it's like, wow, this is what you guys need to be doing. Create that parallel economy, that alternate economy, so you're not stuck with, damn, I just got to. So here, the best example. I don't watch TV today, these days. And I'm not saying that because I'm bragging. I'm saying it because I can't stand a lot of the garbage that's out there. Well,
Right.
so what do I do? Whenever I do actually watch TV, I'm like watching a movie from like 30 years ago, like Goodfellas.
You still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. I got a bunch of messages up in here.
Okay. Are they tracking you right now? Are they seeing you? Seeing the show?
So far, so good.
Okay. Now, I see nothing on my side on your screen behind your backstage here, so I don't see any comments in there.
Oh, no, no, no. There was these were text messages.
Okay.
I
I got it going
The
on my
number of text
platform.
messages and notifications I get on any given day is ridiculous.
I got you. So I got it going on my platforms, my page. I'm trying to I made this go live from Instagram. I don't know how that would work because I know you only get an hour on there because I don't have a paid subscription, and I don't know how good it
Oh,
would be.
hell no. A pay subscription to Instagram. You pay enough through Facebook and their data mining, and then they're going to charge you for like more airtime.
Yeah, because you get the longer packages instead of just the free hour or whatever. So, but I'm not tripping because I do want to build that audience. So I think we're at a crossroads, man. That either we are all in or we're all out, and I think we have to do these things from ballot harvesting to early voting. I'm not against any of those things. To the
Right.
message, um, I hear so much criticism about the Republican message, and I'm not going to name names. We can do it another day, but you know, there when you go into emerging populations who are traditionally not conservative voters,
Hmm.
I don't think conservatives can list a series of 15 things that we'll have some agreement on. They're probably going to be only like three, and that's going to be a start of a dialogue and a start of a conversation. Because, for instance, where liberals are and progressives are on like police reform, it's going to be totally different. Well, I wouldn't say totally different, but it's going to be under that umbrella of police reform. Republicans are on issues that are a little bit different than what
Hmm.
liberals are under that same umbrella. And I don't know if we need to. And this is what I think. The guy who's the big Democrat over there on IG, as he describes me as, I am an
An
extremist.
extremist, I know, and it's like, wait a minute. Do you
He's a
know what extremist is? And do you know about the
I'm an
extremists on the left?
extremist, and I'll call him a fanatic. He's a fanatic. But the thing is, we can't be a Democrat light.
Well, that's been the problem because when we take a look, we were talking about this earlier about Republicans and criticizing, other Republicans. The problem is that, let's take a look at the Obamacare incident. When they were pushing that in the House and in the Senate, they kept pushing it. And what did Republicans do? No, 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 no. Let's just do half of that. I was like, why are you doing that at all? Instead of like, you know what, that's a bad idea. I'm just going to give you a less of a bad idea. Why don't you just do like the exact opposite, like what you were elected to do? To literally be that wall, that line in the sand. The force that stops the immovable object. But instead, we sit here and we give back piss poor ideas, just not as piss poor as what the Democrats are doing, which Democrats always bank on because that's that Overton window moving to the left. That is that incrementalism happening.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you on we need to have a response to these issues, and or at least the position of, yeah, what I would where I am on it, we're not going to agree on it. So I gave it to the guy today about an issue. Like, what issue can we work together on? I'm like, we can work on a lot of issues together. The question is, which idea do you really trying to say? What idea can we agree on? Because we can all identify, well, the schools are not good and the economy is not good, and those are the overall issues, right?
But can you get people to agree that the economy is not good?
I
Anyone
think
from the left?
I think you can, from the standpoint, not. Well, let me break this down. The average voter in Milwaukee, who is well below the poverty line and struggling and just trying to figure these things out, they see it and they feel it.
Hmm.
The working class feels it, but they are still so aligned with their political positions, they're not open still.
Yeah.
I think there are individuals who are open, um, but we need to move openness to actually voting, um, and consistently voting for change. So one of the people that tried to criticize me today was like, "Well, you got signatures to get on the ballot because you probably was a nice guy." When I
Oh, I
ran here
saw that. Yeah.
locally here in Milwaukee, what the guy failed to doesn't realize is that the people knew they signed a Republican document to get me on the ballot. I
Yeah.
told them I was a Republican. So that alone, if it was 350 people that I got to sign my documentation, that was a start. Because remember, and you may not know this, Ed, but you probably do know this. That was during the class in which we had some of the most diverse Republicans in that class, from
Hmm.
pro-union Republicans to pro-cannabis Republicans to different positions on abortion Republicans.
Yep.
That black, Jewish, women. I mean, we had a Noah's boat
Yeah, we
uh,
did.
in that class. Every two by two, everything was on there, right? That we brought up that you had a different type of conservative running for office. But
Hmm.
what I can say is this: there are issues in which we we can agree or disagree on, but I think there are some areas that we can talk about. The guy today was trying to make it seem as if like, okay, well, Orlando, you got on the ballot, but they just did it because you were a nice guy. I said, first of all, in that conversation with these individuals, they were informed that I was Republican, and that blew their minds. So that alone, even in my area, and I think I said this on your podcast before, Ed, in this area in which I ran, and the other people that were in that class, especially in Milwaukee,
Hmm.
they hadn't been a Republican on the ballot for 15, 20
Right.
years. So that alone, just to get on the ballot, is progress. In a deep
This
blue city, to be on the ballot as a conservative Republican.
this is a thing that really kind of blows my mind, and I want to use other words, but I'm trying to keep the language clean, especially hour one.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. But this is what really blows my mind about the modern day liberal, the modern day Democrat, the modern day leftist influencer, whatever, right? What blows my mind is, well, like the story you're telling me. Wow, there's a black Republican? And I always go back. I've traveled the world. I've lived in many places across this planet. And in a lot of these places, I was the minority. And as I'm just sitting here, because I'm a big believer, when in Rome, I'm a freaking Roman. So I'm just going to do my thing. And sometimes a lot of that is just sitting back in the cut and just observing, learning, getting a feel of the landscape, who are the players,
You
all
peeping
that good
game.
stuff.
You just peeping game. Right.
Absolutely. Because you know what? You don't go in there full bore right away unless you know that landscape. Now, do all Puerto Ricans think the same politically, philosophically, religiously, ecumenically, emotionally? Do all Mexicans do all of that? All in lockstep? Do all Nigerians? How about all Arabs? Anybody in South Africa? The people in Guam? They do not. Why do you think they have different parties out there? And some of them are much more conservative than what we have as modern day American conservatism. So it blows my mind when people just like, well, you're not a Democrat. Next thing it's like, should I ask you if you speak Swahili? Should I just make that assumption? Because you assume because of the color of my skin that I'm going to be a liberal? Come on now. I'm sorry. Come on, man.
So, what's your take on Michigan?
Other than the fact it's a hot mess and it always has been a hot mess. And I got much love for
Hundred
Michigan because I
hundred
grew up just
thousand
outside of out of Detroit.
a
But
hundred thousand people voted. What was it? Unconvinced or uncommitted. 100,000.
yeah, let's look it up.
You gonna put
Michigan,
up the article? Okay.
Joe Biden. Oh my God, I can't count.
You gonna share the screen so you can see it?
If I can, let's see. Yes, uncommitted. Let's break this down here. This is newsweek.com. Let us share this wonderful, beautiful, glorious, magnificent screen. Da, 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 da. Where are we at here? Oh, yes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Get out of here, ads. I love when the ads pop up, but here we go. Yesterday, Michigan had a primary. And Yeah, Michigan had their primary yesterday. Joe Biden loses to uncommitted in Dearborn, Michigan. Dearborn, Michigan, and for those of you guys are not aware of this, Dearborn, Michigan, heavy Arab population, Middle Easterners, always has been. I used to live in a town right outside of Dearborn called Madison Heights, and this is about I want to say 20 to 30 minutes away from Detroit. And in this area, it was, suburb area, really nice. Dearborn, great place. But again, it's been primarily, Arab Americans out there. And, obviously they have their Muslim faith. And I think, believe present day, they have an all Arab council, city council there in Dearborn, Michigan. Let's take a look at the story. Majority of Democrat residential primary voters in Dearborn, Michigan voted uncommitted over President Biden to register their objections to his handling of Israel's war in Gaza. Biden and former President Trump won their Michigan primaries on Tuesday, further cementing their chances of a rematch between the two in November's general election. But results from Dearborn sent a message about one of Biden's biggest vulnerabilities ahead of November's voting, and we know that is Israel and Hamas. With 47 out of the city's 48 precincts reporting results, the uncommitted vote in Dearborn was 56%, while Biden received 40%, according to the results posted to the city clerk's website. The difference of more than 1,700 votes. Now, this is important here. Are these people going to vote for Donald Trump in the general election? I would say probably not. They're just not going to vote at all, because Donald Trump is certainly light years more pro-Israel than Joe Biden is. But the fact that they have a Democrat president in office right now, they're thinking they should be able to sway him into siding more with Hamas. And let me add this real quick. It is really, really hard to sway anybody that probably works about 45 minutes to 70 minutes a day and spends more time napping during daylight hours. I'm just assuming, you can only put a man on stimulants so long.
Well, I think so. I didn't know Joe Biden actually lost.
No, he didn't lose. He didn't lose. That was an ass whooping. That's what that was.
He lost in that district
In Dearborn, Michigan. And here's the crazy part. That was 100,000 people in Dearborn, according to this article. The craziest part, I think, about this is he is an incumbent president. Now, I can understand if Trump won his Republican primary. As an incumbent, as the man currently sitting in the Oval, this should have been a shoo-in. Uncommitted should have never been an option, but yet it was.
Yeah, there's some issues going over on the Democratic side. I think Republicans, we need to let's ride this out. This is nothing that we're doing, and we shouldn't get caught up in it too much. Let's run our races, what we're going to agree on, because I believe the dueling, excuse me, visits today to the border. There are some commentaries and some pundits that say this is going to be the issue. And I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if you saw that new Trump commercial yet about what happened to the young lady.
Oh yeah, the young lady that was killed recently,
Lincoln Riley.
Yeah,
it's powerful. And so, if we can frame the election around immigration, that's a powerful statement.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Trump did that in 2016, but I think there's so much more to it, because it's not just immigration. It's immigration, It's the fact that we're being thrown into all these wars. I think, one of the things I really liked about Trump's presidency is what war did he start? What war did he participate in? If you go back to the Trump presidency, he actually stopped a drone strike that could have led to a war with Iran, which John Bolton was wanting to have. You have a lot of neocon war hawk type people that would want to get us into a war because obviously, that certainly funds the military industrial complex.
Yep.
But and it's so funny because I'm not a pacifist by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't see the point in entering us into wars and costing our young men and women their lives. Why? That makes no sense to me. All because what you're trying to protect the petrodollar, all because you're, funneling money to a particular country, Ukraine. Not anything like that.
You silly.
I had a cough. Just want to make sure. But but you see my point though.
I do.
Trump didn't get us into any new wars. As a matter of fact, he was pulling us out of a lot of places, and he was making other nations actually pay their fair share to NATO. But if we let individuals like Nikki Haley and the other neocons that out there who are working hand in hand with the left, and it's funny, there's a lot of organizations that claim to be conservative, that claim to be Republican, that are being bankrolled by Democrats right now, even here in the state of Wisconsin, and I'm going to call that out as being sus AF.
Well, I think Super Tuesday is coming up next week.
Ooh, let's find out.
There's going to be another round of several states voting on next week Tuesday, I believe. Look at Dan. I see you in there, Dan. Dan BSR.
Dan, what's up, homie? I can't even see who's like on here right now.
He's in your chat room.
All right, what's going on, Dan? How you doing? I see your little baby boy, your little grandbaby boy.
Dan's wild.
Dan is wild. That's true. It's funny. Hold on.
It's next week, Super Tuesday, right? You're looking at that.
I'm trying to get who's all there. What is Super Tuesday? Why it matters and what to watch. You watch everything. That's what you do.
It's election day. So
16 states are voting on that day.
Is that next week?
How many do you think? What's the over-under? What's the over-under that Nikki Haley carries any state?
Yeah. I don't see her doing it, bro. I don't. What are the states going to be voting next week Tuesday? The 16 states.
Let me throw this here real quick. So apparently, in order to get the Republican nomination for president, a individual needs to get 1,215 delegates to win, right? I see Adrian. I don't see anybody in the chat right now, but I see Adrian Melby laughed at something. I would love to know what she's laughing at. I really would. But currently, Donald Trump has 122 delegates. Nikki Haley has 24. Why? Somebody posted on one of my, and I didn't respond to it, but after South Carolina, I was texting all night long, streaming, stuff on Facebook and on Twitter. And I said something to the effect, she's just stupid. Like, how do you just hang in there? How do you get your ass whooped the way you did and give a victory speech? Like, you did not even break 40%. So
go ahead.
Somebody tried to tell me, right? And this was comic gold as I'm watching this back and forth go on here, that Democrats are voting for Trump. And I'm like, And I wanted to roast this person, and I thought about doing that tonight,
So why didn't you?
but because I like them as a person, and I don't want politics to divide it.
Got you.
You know, but I gotta say that is the dumbest effing thing I've heard. Because let's go back to New Hampshire, right? In New Hampshire, the first county to have voted in that state, they were the ones. There were 6 people, and they said that, "Oh no, we voted for Haley." And the correspondent responded, "Well, in the general election, if it's between Haley and Biden, who are you voting for?" Without skipping a beat, this guy said Joe Biden. No question.
He's voting for
Let's see.
Joe Biden in the general.
He will vote for Joe Biden in general. They were spoilers.
Exactly.
They were spoilers. Hey, real quick here, Dan sent me a DM here. He goes, "You don't see me on your Facebook Live?" No, I don't see you on my. Well, I'm looking through Restream, so I don't necessarily see the names of who's watching or not or anything like that. So
I can see him on your Restream. I'm not on your Facebook Live. Let me go to your Facebook. Let's see what I see.
Yeah, but here's the other thing too. There are Democrat donors that are dumping all kinds of money into her campaign, Democrat PACs. So it's like, how can you sit there and say, and these are who I would consider intelligent people? It's like, how did you not do that research? How did you not hear that? If I heard it, then you should have heard it.
I can see Dan in there. It's this Dan.
Okay.
He's on your page. So I can see him.
Okay. Good deal. By the way, I'm mad at Dan, by the way, because he's got all that good weather down there. We had 75 degrees on Tuesday, and it went down to 20-something degrees today. I can't go outside with a jacket right now. For the last 2 days, I could not go outside with a jacket.
Well,
because I'm over here peeling like a son of a bitch, and it just. I've been using so much Aquaphor on my arm over this last week. I should have invested in it before I did the tattoo. Because I bet you the dividends I would have gotten on Aquaphor.
Is that a sunscreen?
I'm just saying, I could have been like, you know what? Tonight's show is brought to you by Aquaphor.
Good for you.
It's good. It's good for your skin. Lubricate.
Lubricate.
Love your skin. Stop being ashy.
There you go. And I need to stop. Yeah. Well, let me stop. I'll stop there.
Ashy Larry.
So okay, let's go back to it then. So you have.
Well, you don't want to talk to Ashy Larry, all right?
So you had the Michigan turnout.
Yep.
And I don't know if that's enough for Joe Biden to lose Michigan. But that again, I don't think they vote for us. The question is how enthusiastic will they come out and vote for Joe Biden?
Well, that's there's a lot that's different this election cycle. So you have a lot of people that still hold on to the idea that Trump won 2020 and he was cheated and all this fraud and German servers and firefights and this QAnon nonsense. Those people should never be allowed to vote again. I said what I said. That being said, though, Trump was anti-elected. Do you remember toward the end of summer, August, September, when CNN and other news organizations were literally cutting him off in the middle of a press conference?
They wouldn't, because they said we can't support.
Right. He's spreading false information about COVID. And it's like, no, he's the president. He has all the information.
Exactly.
But go back to March of 2020 when everything shut down and go over the summer of love, all the violence, political protests, all the other, nonsense that we're supposed to respect, because COVID doesn't spread when the left are protesting, but it does when the right decide to protest the mask. Um, Furthermore, you also had people that were, how do I put it? The mainstream was out there constantly putting out the death tolls. You see the ticker right down here, right? Right down there. And CNN, MSNBC, CBS, they were all constantly having that ticker with the death tolls. And then, of course, they were showing footage of people in hospitals. It was interesting. Hospitals, makeshift camps. Some of that stuff was video games. Some of that stuff was early stage AI. A lot of that stuff was fake. And we know this now, 4 years in retrospect. But when the Democrats were out there and they were talking about, you know what, if you vote for us, all this goes away. A lot of people believe that. A lot of the NPCs and the normies, they bought into it. And what did they do? Because you have to understand, most people aren't like you or I who are steeped into the political world. They're not the ones that have the understanding. Even if, say, for example, Dan from Badger State Resistance, him and I could disagree on several hundred different things, but we actually have more in common than we don't. It's just the several hundred different things that you might focus on because that's what we're going to go back and forth on. Not so much the stuff that we have in common. People gravitate towards sensationalism. And I think what ended up happening was you combine the violence, you combine the COVID and the lockdowns, and a lot of people came to the realization that you can get half the population to be lockstep like zombies really quick. Yeah, that led to a lot of resentment back and forth. But for your average person, unfortunately, the independents, the NPCs, the normies, the left, they are larger in group and they anti-elected Trump, even though it was against their own self-interest. That's the thing that's most fascinating. Because I think for most of us, if you think about why you should vote for somebody, it should be how that affects your pocketbook. Because how an individual affects your pocketbook, this could determine what you eat, where you stay, can you upgrade, can you buy a new car, can you buy a used car, interest rates, everything else that goes along with that. However, oftentimes, many people are stuck within their feelings. And when they're stuck within their feelings, logic goes out the window. I'd love to know, why do you think logic is not Dan responds, I'm gonna ask like that. Fair enough, sir. Fair enough.
What's your question again, Ed? I missed the question.
Why do you think a lot of people just aren't, they're stuck in their feelings, not so much in, they're stuck in their feelings so much that they actually vote against their own self-interest. And I've heard a lot of those liberals over there on Instagram talking about how, black conservatives, you're voting against your own interest. And it's like, well, no, you're kind of the one that's still on the plantation, son. Like, you're advocating this because you're the one that's sleeping in the house. You're getting the scraps. Meanwhile, you're not the cat that's out there on the field putting in the work and eating the chicken organs. So how can you say that when over here on the right, people that look like you and I, we're eating well because we hunt well, because we have these skills. We picked up a way to be self-sufficient. Orlando's on daddy duty here.
I am. He just walked up to me. Say hello, Ed. Say hi, Ed.
Hi.
Oh, wait.
Ed.
What's up, little man? Oh, I can't see you yet, brother.
Can't see him?
Not yet.
Late.
Oh, I might be on the delay. Okay. Let's see what happens here. It'll come up. Young man, you are 2 years partying, huh? Wait, let's see. We lost sound here for a moment. All right. Hey, Orlando, you got you on. You're on. Looks like you're muted. All right. What else going on here?
I can't hear you. He's getting a
All
little
right. I hear
slow.
you now. All right. Man, he's gotten big. That's a big boy now. Look at him all faded up and everything. Looking sharp.
Give me 1 minute. I'll be right back.
Yes, of course. All right. So we'll be closing out the stream here pretty soon. I just wanted to kind of do a test run here and see how things kind of play themselves out. But man, we're over an hour already. Yeah, we got a lot to go over here, especially with this election coming up. The primaries are going to be April 2nd. And then, of course, we have the general election here, first Tuesday in November. And that's not a lot of time. So look forward for more conversation. Look forward for more interviews. I'll be having Hilaria De Leon here this Monday. Stacey Klein running for U.S. Senate on the Republican side on Wednesday night. That'll be a pre-recorded episode right there. So we'll just kind of launch that from there. I'll be having David King on Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. And that's going to be all next week. I'll be reaching out to several other U.S. senatorial candidates, having them on, other people running, especially in the House, or in the state legislature. In the House there. They run on a 2-year cycle. I want to reach out to a couple different senators I know, because it's interesting with these maps that have been redrawn. I was talking to another senator this past Sunday, and the way that they redrew these maps is actually quite shocking. There have been individuals that are losing their district by 15 feet, literally 15 feet. So I'm going to be interested to see how the conversation, how that goes. I know the Wisconsin Republicans right now, they are filing suit to overturn what the Wisconsin Supreme Court maps, their decision on the maps have been. And this is something I really want to get off my chest here. And I'm not going to go too heavy into it. I can, but I'm not going to. But during the 2022 campaign cycle, it was interesting because you had all the Republican candidates that were out there running for governor doing their thing. They went to all the Lincoln Day dinners. They went to all the various events. They drove through the snow. They dealt with the late night drives, everything else. And then we had an upstart come in here. And just turned the thing upside down, bought the primary, no problem. And I would love to see a come to Jesus moment as it relates to that. I'm sure Tim Michaels is a nice guy, but just coming in here on the whim of certain other people who will remain nameless, I'm sure you probably know who they are and why. So Rebecca Clayfish doesn't get voted in, her turn. And just the same, you have people on the ground level here, grassroots. And then, by the way, I think it was fascinating because there were people like, well, you're not grassroots. We're grassroots. Shut up. But there were some of those folks that were just more interested in their own clout building, in tearing the party down, and not even in claiming to espouse conservative values, but were really nothing more than a hand grenade in a china shop. They were fine with tearing everything down. And going back to an earlier part of our conversation tonight, I would love to see a reckoning. Maybe we'll see it soon enough. I'm just saying, anybody who says something to the effect that if Democrats win in any election, it's just the same to us. We don't care. Yeah. As a conservative movement, maybe we should take a page out of the Democrat handbook there. And maybe we should excise them and do away with them completely. Never to be heard from again, persona non grata. That's just my thoughts here. Because when we screwed up the 2022 election cycle for our governorship, we also did the same thing here when following April for the Supreme Court race when it came to Justice Kelly. We broke out the buzzsaws and we tore each other apart. And in doing so, we gave up the Wisconsin Supreme Court. We're dealing with this situation with the WAPs, and it's probably just a matter of 1 or 2 election cycles before we lose the House here in Wisconsin. Tell me I'm wrong. And it's not that I have the recipe for grandeur. It's not that I know some mystical thing. It's simply that the writing is on the wall. So, with that being said, here I want to thank Orlando Owens for joining here tonight. We're going to cut it short. I got some more work I got to do. I got several phone calls I got to make. Dan, good seeing you on here tonight. Adrian, I hope you had a good laugh. I'll deal with everything accordingly. But again, keep in mind, guys, we'll be having more conversations here real soon. Orlando, we're going to cut it out here. Are you still got that website?
I do, but we're going to update some stuff in there. So sorry about tonight. My wife had to do something different. I would have probably had a little bit more coverage for the young man.
It's all good.
So I can focus. I did want to ask you about the whole idea of the whole local races of some Republicans having to battle each other. I heard a few today, but I'm gonna come back because he's up again.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll talk more on that later. All right, brother. Take care. And for those of you guys, make sure you check out our website. That's the DelgadoShow.com. I have a lot of other conversations coming up next week. We'll have more in the weeks to come. And then got an announcement for the beginning of April. So until, let's do an episode Saturday. That's what I think we're going to do. We're going to do an episode Saturday. So we're doing an episode Saturday. And wait, what do we got here? Orlando's like, yeah, thumbs up.
I do it. I get off work at like 5. So yeah, I do it.
All right. So we'll do an episode Saturday night. And anybody else that wants to jump on board, please feel free to do so. So until then, good night. God bless you. God bless the state of Wisconsin. God bless the USA. We're out.